Record. Welcome, folks, to the Going Pro Experts Academy. And this, by the way, is the beginning of the fall cohort for the Experts Academy for Going Pro. So we had the previous one was summer. That was the third or fourth one that we've done. And this is the sort of the new turning of the wheel. And the whole purpose of this is for you to be able to focus on what really matters to you, get input on it, and become better at it, so that at the end of this cycle, you're saying, boy, I'm glad I did that, right? Like the folks that we had at the mastermind here in Austin, they were saying at the end of it, I don't want it to end. And, now, no, let's don't go home. Let's stay. This is too valuable, right? And Lisa, you were there for that. So you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
When I put it all together in the first place, my intent was to make it so that I could be available to the people I can help, the people who are interested in my guidance or input, without any feeling I've got something else to sell, or I'm looking to upsell them to something else or whatever. So people say, what do you do, Jim? Besides being a speaker and author, I'm a mentor, and I offer my mentorship in 1 month, 3 month, and 10-month agreements. And I call that the Going Pro Experts Academy. So on our Facebook page, the group page that both of you have been to, and the others who will watch this later, many of them have also been to it. It's Going Pro Experts Academy on Facebook. It's a private group page, and it's only for us. And I've put in there files with all the forms, all the samples, all the contracts, all the tools and resources that I could load it with. And the ones that are the most important, I think, are the Future You exercise, which is very simple, but should be done repeatedly every several months. Because if you do it the first time, you'll do it to kind of fill in the answers and get it done. The next time you do it, you'll get serious about it. And you'll start thinking, well, that's not, yeah, that's nice for class, but here's what I really want. And you start getting more clear on what you want. And by the third or fourth time you do that exercise, you're getting down to talking with yourself about what really matters to you, okay? So then step number 2 is reputation creation, because you got a reputation anyway, even among strangers. They see you as the person they don't know, and they form all of their impressions about you based on only what they can see or what they've heard from someone else. So why not create the reputation you want? With whom? With the people in your business. What do you mean? The people who work with and for you, the people who work near you, the customers and clients that you serve. With every one of these groups, you have a reputation. With your family, with your neighbors, with your community, with the clubs or organizations you belong to. So be intentional, and that's kind of a theme in everything I teach. Be more intentional in the cultivation of the reputation that you want, ideally in the minds of your children, your spouse, your friends, your family, your clients, your colleagues, even your competitors. And when you put that down in writing, like you do in that exercise, then it gives you a way to whittle that down into one little paragraph you can carry around with you and keep that in the front of your mind all the time. And over time, what happens is you become more and more and more likely to behave in ways that cause that outcome. Later in the package, there is I'm looking for a copy of it here in the drawer. There is a thought diet. And what the thought diet does is what John Mitchell teaches. John Mitchell takes you through a very detailed surgical process to identify what matters to you and what you want in every category of your life, and to come up with a statement that articulates it as if it were already so. and he has you review that 12 minutes a day and keep you focused. And that's what helped me get to where I've been over all these years. And at first, I did this in 1975, 76. I came up with this little tool, and I call it the thought diet. And it's got two sides, as you know. The top of side one says, my current primary goal. The one thing I'm working on right now that matters the most to me of everything else. And it could be huge, or it could be a shorter term goal. Then you say, okay, what kind of me would achieve that goal? And so the second half of side one is, what 5 traits or personal qualities am I cultivating that will make you the person that's eligible for that goal and likely to attract it? Then you flip it over, and it says mental, physical, family, social, spiritual, career, financial, emotional. What's one little tiny, teeny microscopic thing you could do each day to continue your growth in each of those categories? And I remember mine used to say, I will spend 10 minutes in meaningful conversation with Paula and Jim Jr. today. Now, how lame is 10 minutes? But it was 10 intentional, focused minutes with each of them separately every single day. And in doing so, it led to many, many, many more minutes, but not always. Some days it was only 10 minutes. And the physical exercise, I couldn't get myself to do that. So put on my jogging shoes and walk to the curb. Well, it took me a while just to get myself to do that, because I felt silly doing it if I wasn't going to go run. But I did it, and it became a habit that was important to me. And I ended up losing 52 excess pounds at age 30 and stopped smoking and got in shape. This morning after my workout, I weigh exactly what I weighed in 1963 in high school. 156 pounds. Wow. At age 76. Now think about that. In the meantime, I had weighed 199 and a half pounds. I was unwilling to go for 200. So I drew the line when that thing got up there and flirted with the 200 line. I said, that's it. That's it. My world is changing. No more eating. And even if I die, I'm not going to weigh 200 pounds. So I radically restructured my life and shrunk literally 52 pounds, got down to a 30-inch waist, which for my size is pretty small and relatively small, and have sustained that for 40 plus years. So the thought diet is a simple, little, seemingly trivial tool that is very intentionally integrated with all these other things, which fit together quite nicely. And you say, well, what do I put as my one primary goal on the top of the thought diet card? Well, there's another exercise in there, and it's a spreadsheet. And it's what one thing of all the things you got going in your life, Sandy with the lake house and Lisa with St. Jude's and all the other things besides your mainstream career goal. What one thing, if you put your pure energy into it on a regular basis for 5 consecutive years, would transform your life? And you go through that exercise, and you don't have to do what it ends up showing you, but it ends up showing you what your real selection should be, one of those few that are finalists. And so that way you're able to come back and focus your attention that way. And then I've got other exercise, passion and purpose statement. We've talked about that. And most people don't really know what their passion and purpose is. They know what they love, what they're excited about. They know generally what they believe, but they've never articulated it. And when you articulate it, you're forced to reduce your thinking, your feeling, your believing into limited tools, words. And that's why mission statements are so important, because a mission statement encapsulates sometimes a half day of dialogue among people in one simple little line. Same thing's true here. Your passion and purpose statement is sort of your life mission statement. where you take all the things you think and feel and dream about and condense them into one simple little statement or paragraph that you can carry with you and use it to inspire yourself and keep yourself focused all the time. So all of these things, what do I start? What do I stop? What do I need more of? What do I need less of? That's an exercise built into those files. You know, it's one of the tools for you there. And Going Pro is all about that kind of thinking. Focus, 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 focus. Why? Because it has three primary outcomes. One, clarity, which means focus, which means knowing for sure what you want. Clarity. From clarity and having also a clear path, seeing how to get there. Like, I want to make a sale. I'm clear on that. I know how to sell because I understand how to prospect, how to initiate contact with the right people, how to gain their trust, how to assess their needs, how to understand their wants, how to solve their problem and show them that this solves their problem, how to gain their agreement and their commitment to buy, how to assure that they are satisfied now and stay satisfying and loyal as a client ongoing, and how to manage my accounts and manage myself as a salesperson. If I have a formula or system like that, it gives me not only clarity, but confidence. I don't have to believe in me, I believe in the process, right? You don't have to believe in your ability to find the numerical answer, believe in mathematics to produce it for you. Oh, this is to be added, that's to be subtracted, this multiplied, that divided. Okay, got it, boom, right? So clarity and confidence. And then third, when you are deeply convicted about what you believe is so and what you believe matters, when your convictions are rock solid inside of you, you've got the courage to face anything the world throws at you. You know, someone says, oh my gosh, you're blind for the rest of your life. Okay, that seriously sucks and I hate it and I wish it weren't so, but I can handle it. I've got to rethink everything now, but I can handle it. You're bankrupt. Okay, I've got a tough passage to go through. I know I'll come out on the other side and I don't know how, but I'll handle it, right? You have the courage to take what the world throws at you and find a way through it. The difference between optimists and pessimists is not just the calibration of their viewer, their mindset that determines whether they notice the blues or the reds more. The difference between an optimist and a pessimist is the optimist has faith that there can be a solution found. The pessimist believes it's hopeless because the current evidence only shows limits. So a pessimist looks short-term right here. We've never done that before. Therefore, it is physically and universally and perpetually impossible. That's the pessimistic point of view. We're limited by only what we see, only what we know, only what we've heard. No other things exist beyond this. We have no faith in tomorrow because all we can see is today and all we believe in is today. And you say, well, there is a tomorrow. I'll believe it when I see it. That's a pessimist, right? The optimist says, I can see it in my mind and in my heart. Now I need to be able to find it in reality, right? So they always assume somehow there's a way. It might be painful, might be more expensive, might take longer, might need more help than I thought, might change my mind on the way there, but there's a way. Sam Duggar, my brother-in-law, age 13, wanted to be an astronaut, told everybody, had his whole life structured around shooting his rockets and, becoming an astronaut. Years later, he got into the Air Force Academy, graduated with a degree in astronautical science and said, nope, don't want to be an astronaut. That's way, way, way too much of a life commitment. That's the only thing in your life if you go for that. I just want to fly airplanes. And he's had a full career as a pilot for Delta Airlines, has seen the entire world, and is living an abundant life. Just bought a new Corvette the other day. Bravo, Sam. Was he successful, or did he fail on his astronaut goal? No, he changed his astronaut goal, but he pursued it diligently until he was sure that another path was okay with him. Right? So and I set my goal originally to be the next Earl Nightingale. And I met Cavett Robert, the founder of the National Speakers Association. And I said, I want to do what he does. Well, he was doing 200 speeches a year. That meant every day he asked this question twice. Where's the airport? Right? Every day. And I got to that point, I was doing 123 talks a year at the peak. And I said, this is not fun. I mean, I love the speaking. The travel's been exciting. I've been to all 50 states, been around the world twice in 1 year. This is not what I want ongoing. And so I said, okay, we're only doing, to my small staff, I said, we're only doing 60 engagements a year max from this point forward. And I raised my fee and got it. Boom. Yes, got it. And sure enough, I was only doing, sometimes I did 69 or 70, but for the most part, I was doing between 56 and 68 engagements a year. And then I moved from San Diego to Thousand Oaks, California, when my grandson was born in Santa Barbara. And I let my staff go and outsourced everything. And I was still going at the rate of about 50 a year, but I cut back a little bit further. And I didn't have to pay for a staff since I'd outsourced everything. So I had a whole lot more net at the end of the month. And, you know, my lifestyle went straight up. Life became wonderful in bold new ways. And then 2009, you know, big, well, actually, there was the tech boom and tech bust, and that was around the millennium. And then Y2K scared everybody to death, and I went through that process. And then we had the whole meltdown around 2008 and 9, and I went through that. And I'd previously been through a recession back at 1992, and so here it came again. And then, you know, been up and down all the waves since then. We had 2001, you know, 9/11. That was a huge hit. And all these things, but my business continued on. It just evolved into different shapes, with the speaking side being larger or smaller at different times, the consulting side being larger or smaller, and now the mentoring side being larger for me. And the authorship has gone up a lot. By the way, a quick little side note. I got a note, and I sent a note 3 weeks ago to Daniel Rex. Daniel Rex is the CEO of Toastmasters International, 360,000 members. And I said, Daniel, I would like to offer my book, What to Do When You're the Speaker, free to all 360,000 Toastmasters digitally. Oh. How do we make that happen? He said, we're headed to Bermuda for our, or to the Bahamas for our annual meeting. Let me get back to you. Well, yesterday, I got an email from Laura. Let me see just a second. Laura Aman. And she said, I'm the managing editor of Toastmaster Magazine, and Dan sent me your idea. How about this? Would you like to write a feature article for our magazine, which goes to all our members? And in addition to your feature article, offer the download. And on top of the download, we have a podcast for our members worldwide. If you'd come on the podcast, we'll talk about that. And we'll let them know about this, because you're kind of a celebrity in our world because of the Golden Gavel and your keynote addresses and all those things. And I said, okay. Well, that was yesterday. Today, I wrote a 1,500 word article, feature article for Toastmasters and sent it to her with the link and all that. And we're going to schedule the podcast, and we're going to do the article in the December issue so that people will buy the book as a holiday gift.
Perfect.
The December issue comes out in November. So how cool is that? Right? And all of this, the thing is, when I started as a speaker, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just wanted to be Earl Nightingale, right? Like when I was a kid, what do you want to do when you grow up, Jimmy? I want to be Roy Rogers, a cowboy in the movies, right? Or I want to be John Wayne, or I want to be whoever, you know, my heroes of the day, Davy Crockett, baby boom heroes. And I didn't. But I did become, and by the way, later it was Elvis. I did become a performer on stage in front of 3,500 audiences all over the world. I did become the author of 25 books. I did receive all the big awards that people like Earl Nightingale got. I did all these wonderful things. And I've even got a movie producer who you know, Lisa, and that's Sergio Navarrete out of Toronto, Canada. He's a movie director and producer. He said, Jim, you always said you wanted to be in a movie. He said, I'll probably have one for you in the next year or so. So who knows? I might even get a little part in one of his movies, and that would be super cool. Kind of
motorcycle driver.
Man, oh man. Well, let me get quick comments or questions from either of you. What do we need to talk about as we're exploring a whole new energy burst toward going pro?
I want to comment on your the idea of doing the exercises several times, because I remember the first time I did it, and I don't really do anything. Let me just hurry and get this over with. I do it. Oh, I've got to really focus on this, and this just has to be perfect. And I, sweat over it and massage it, and then I get it. I'm like, this is perfect. Of course, it's not. And then the next time I went through
perfect.
it,
It's just not complete yet.
That's right. And I went through it 3 or 4 times, but boy, I want to say the 4th time I'm like, this is really good. Let me read it again. I'm kind of proud of myself. Then I print it out and I put it in my journal. I put it on my bathroom mirror and start to live by it. So that was kind of my experience of, I like this part, so I'm going to keep this, but I think I'm going to change this. So each time I went through the process, I thought it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I want to show you something. Lisa's seen this before, Sandy, but this little thing here, these are from the 1970s. My thought diet card, there's the card itself, right? The uncompleted one. And what I did back then was I wrote qualities that I wanted in me. I wrote 11 different qualities. Speak ill of no one, be patient and tolerant, be modest, still working on that, be generous, inspiring, observant, self-disciplined, totally honest, exhibit my faith in God, be healthy and fit, and frugal. And I had a description for each of those as to specifically what are the behaviors that go along with that. And I laminated this. I didn't have a laminator, so I just did strips of tape to cover it. And so it's sort of laminated, but it lived with, you can see how well yellow the paper is. It's lived with me all those years. And I still read that occasionally. And then I took pieces of that, and on the back of my old JC's business cards, United States JC's, I wrote, and you can see this has been discolored over the years.
Very nice.
I put those on my bathroom mirror, and that's why I brought it out, because you brought it up. And speak well of all, and it just goes on. Each of these qualities I put on little things like that. I even typed them out later, but that yellowed way too much. And so that wasn't as effective as the other, but I've still got those after all these years. And then I meet John Mitchell, and he's telling me about his 12 minutes a day program and think it be it. And I'm thinking, holy smokes, that's exactly what I did. The only difference is format.
Right.
And then I've been rereading some of the old books from back in the day, some of like Think and Grow Rich and Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, and all those various books. And I realized they're all saying the same thing.
Like the Franklin, the Stephen Covey too. It's very,
Yeah. The 7 Habits.
yeah.
The first time I ran across that, I was a speaker for Century 21 in 1979, I think, in Ohio. And Century 21 was transforming real estate. There had never been a business format franchise for real estate. And the first ever was Century 21. And then others came along like Red Carpet and, so forth ever since. Well, Century 21 was a big deal at the time. And so I was hired as one of their monthly motivators to come to Ohio and speak in Cleveland and Youngstown and, all these other cities, at Toledo and so forth. And the speaker before me on the program was Stephen Covey, who was a professor from Brigham Young. And his speech was about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He hadn't written the book yet.
Awesome. Wow.
So then he wrote the book, and of course it became a worldwide bestseller.
Yeah.
Well, I was in his audience a number of times over the years after that. And then one day his office called me and said, Dr. Covey wants you on our master series.
Wow.
So the Covey organization hired me to speak at San Diego State University on their master series for the 7 Habits. Isn't that
Wow, that's something to be proud of. What year was that again?
that the first year was like 1979. And then the year I was on the master series was probably the late 80s, early 90s.
Interesting, because like in around 87 or so, when I was working at Santa Barbara Research Center, which is now Raytheon, they required all of us to go through the Stephen Covey Franklin Planner.
Because he had stores.
Training.
The Franklin Day Planner.
Right. That is pivoted. That totally changed my world and made me more highly effective, highly productive. And, that's what I've, tried to instill in my daughters. And I try to instill that in, other people even now. But well,
it's profound, solid biblical truth.
Definitely.
Because I mean, he's Mormon, so he came up with a biblical orientation toward philosophy and wisdom and all that. And you can find all these things in ancient scriptures of many of the various religions around the world, but because it's universal principles that work. Franklin Day Planner grew out of an era when week at a glance and month at a glance and day at a glance was a product line. And I was using the week at a glance little
right
planner, which is larger than this, about twice that size. And I have those, and even the desk version of it at first, I have those going back to, wait for it, 1970.
I believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, I've always used calendars.
Stashed away in the in the top of the garage. I could go and I could tell you probably what I was doing or what I was working toward a particular day back generations ago. And Franklin did a good job. They were using the name of the image of Ben Franklin and the whole Franklin autobiography approach to life with his 14 virtues and so forth to structure their day planner. And they took the ideas of things like week at a glance and incorporated it and made a really, really cool product. And I bought from one of their competitors at the time, I've forgotten the name of the company that came along that was really, really similar to them. Tony Alessandra and I had just become partners. 1982, 3, 4, I had moved to San Diego and we were using those tools. But then Franklin and Covey aligned, and they started opening retail stores.
Mhm.
And that was pretty cool, because at the retail stores, they also did seminars and had guest presenters to bring people into the mall and get them to buy the products. So super cool stuff. Super cool. Can I share with you? I'm about to burst with enthusiasm over my article for Toastmasters. Can I read you part of that article?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Thank you. Let me go in here and dig up my file that I just sent off to them about 10 minutes before we started this meeting. Seriously. I mean, it's that fresh. Let's see, 2023 docx. That's the one. Here it goes. Okay. Now consider this magazine goes only to people who are interested in speaking, right? In presenting. And there's people in every field you can imagine. So here's the title of it: What to Do When You're the Speaker by Jim Cathcart. Hello, that's the name of my book. Okay, so here's the article. An electrical surge caused the bulb to explode in my 35 millimeter slide projector. Parentheses, yes, this was before PowerPoint. Smoke arose from the machine and the screen went dark as the audience of 700 tax accountants started to laugh, thinking I had done this as a joke. Then the lights in the room began to blink as a fire warning, and I was the only person in the room with a microphone. Space. A big drunken lumberjack stumbled into the banquet room and yelled to all 400 attendees that he was ready for a fight. They sat in stunned silence, and I paused mid-speech. There were at least 100 feet between the stage and the intruder as he surveyed the room for an opponent. Space. From the head table, remember those? I waxed eloquent and was about 2 minutes into my big story when I realized I hadn't told them why this story would make sense to them. I forgot to deliver the setup that would make the rest of the story and my big punchline meaningful. Space. My alarm went off just after 5 a.m. and I arose to dress for my 8 a.m. keynote at the convention downstairs in this hotel. Then I noticed a strange feeling in my throat and quickly realized I had no voice.
Oh, no.
I felt fine otherwise, but couldn't speak above a whisper. That's the opening of my article. What's your reaction?
You're relatable.
Yeah, been there, right? Lisa?
After all these years, and I have heard most of your stories, I haven't heard this one.
I'll be darned.
I know.
So I took 4 different scenarios out of speeches, one in Newport Beach, one in Kalamazoo, Michigan, one in, let's see, what was the other one? Washington, D.C. on a Sunday in November, a cold November, where all the neighboring buildings around the hotel were closed. And we had to evacuate the 700 people up to street level in the cold, and they couldn't go back to their rooms to get their coats. And we were outside the hotel for 5 hours because there really was a fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. So what I put next in this article, now remember who the audience is, Toastmasters. In none of the above instances was my speech preparation, content, or delivery style going to determine success or failure. Knowing my audience or feeling fully confident about my material were likewise going to be useless to me in those moments. Now in Toastmasters, they have distinguished Toastmasters, accredited Toastmasters. In the NSA, we have certified speaking professionals. So here's my next line. I could be distinguished, certified, accredited, and glorified, but still a new solution was needed. It's one thing to have a good speech, it's quite another to be a good speaker, no matter what occurs.
Hmm.
And so that's how I lead into the article. And then I go back and resolve all of the above. But I say just before that, I say in the 4 true scenarios at the opening of this article, I posed challenges that I've faced and left the solution up to you. What would you have done in these instances? Take a moment, read them again, and come up with a solution or approach before reading about what I did. And then I put in parentheses, I'll wait here while you do that. And then I said, read the opening paragraphs now. Space. Thanks for doing that. And then I go on and I resolve each of those. So that's my article for Toastmasters produced today. I'm just kind of proud I could crank it out in about an hour.
Wow, that's great.
Boy. So how would you have handled those situations? The first one is the building's on fire and 700 people, 3 levels below the street. You're the only one with a microphone.
A lot of responsibility.
That is. So the clock is ticking and the fire alarms are going off. What are you going to do, Sandy?
Yeah. Wow.
Seriously, come up with an action. What are you going to do?
Calmly get out of the building.
Yep. What about the 700 others?
Duck. Pray.
Yep. Lisa, what about you?
Well, if I had the mic, I would just take the mic and remain calm. I have a good friend that's a flight attendant.
Yep.
She always says, no matter how much training, there's still flight attendants. Number one mistake is they don't remain calm. I'd remain calm, and I would
And
say,
by the way, the people are looking at that flight attendant and noticing every micro behavior. And if she says, everything's fine, don't panic, just relax. This is as normal as can be, then they're going to panic, right? Same thing for you, the speaker, because you're the one in the front of the room they're all looking at, and they see these alarms going off, and they see smoke rising out of that projector and on stilts in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
something's
yeah.
seriously wrong here. What do you do?
So that's why I started remain calm, and then just announce that we would calmly walk out, look for the exits, walk out to the exits as quietly and quickly as you can.
Very
And
good.
that's kind of what I would do. But I've got another thought that just popped in my head, because last night I was at career ministry at our church, and I told, because I was out of town last month for our event. And so I told both of them, I said, Steve and John, look, I'm here. I'll be happy to help you do whatever. We have open mic tonight. And I looked at the 2 of them and they started laughing. And I go, no, don't put me on the spot. You know how prepared I like to be. And they're like, no, we're not putting you on the spot, but we want you to make a contribution. I said, what kind of contribution? Well, just sit back and you'll see how open mic goes. And I'm like, what? So we served the dinner and Steve made the announcement, and it was very uncontrolled. Everybody just got to come up and say whether they were in career transition, or because we invite everybody, even someone who wants to come and mentor other people or talk about their company and what they do. And so there were about 40 people there, and they didn't have good control over it, but there were a lot of young people looking for jobs, getting out of college or getting ready to finish college. So at one point, and I'm going to say maybe 30 minutes in, I decided to speak. And so I did get up and take the mic for about 5 minutes. And boy, you should have heard the applause when I sat down. And I got tickled when I got my car to go back home, because I'm like, Lisa, you're doing much better. Because before, Jim, 2 years ago, don't ask me anything impromptu. I wanted it written down.
Yep.
So I'm kind of challenging myself.
Good morning, Lisa. How are you? Just a second.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't that bad. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration.
I am fine, but more importantly, how are you?
No, that's Sandy,
No,
you
I
know
I'm
me.
exaggerating for fun.
You're exaggerating big time.
Well, let me tell you what actually happened, okay?
Okay.
So this is for the National Association of Tax Practitioners, 700 below the, at the Hyatt Hotel in downtown Washington, DC on a frozen Sunday. So I said, they start laughing, and I looked around and I laughed too. And I said, that wasn't a joke. I said, now we don't know whether this is a false alarm, just a power surge, or what it was, but it might be a fire. So let's not take that chance. With the 350 of you on this side of the aisle, please exit through those doors at the back of the room. Don't go to the side doors, because they just lead you to an inner hallway that loops back around to back there anyway. So go only through those doors, and don't use the elevators. They won't be working anyhow. And just go up the stairs, and I'll meet you outside. These folks, 350 of you, go through that side door, and it leads directly to a stairwell that goes right up to the street, nonstop. So let's go that way. Please go now. And I watched them to show that I expected them to do that. And they started doing it. And then I went over to this group, opened that exit door, and guided them, and then joined them and went up to the street. So we all got out fine. Turns out there was a fire. Okay. So we had to do that anyway. And I thought, okay, we got 700 people out in the cold, and we don't know how long before we can get back in. I can't even go get our coats. The other buildings are closed and locked, and there's nothing open. We can't go get a coffee or, sit in a restaurant or something. Hey, everybody, follow me. And I walk across the street, and there's a building with concrete steps going way up to it, like a Supreme Court building effect. And I said, come over here, and those that want to, have a seat on these steps, but sit close to each other, touching, so we at least share a little bit of body heat. And I will do an abbreviated version of what I was going to tell you downstairs. And they said, okay. So I'm standing out there a cappella doing storytelling, basically, because I wasn't teaching so much as I was just entertaining and keeping them engaged, planning a few good ideas. And finally, we got the news, and we got back in the hotel, and everything was healed and fine. The meeting planner said, you are my hero. That's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to tell everyone in my profession how good you are. And she recommended me to all kinds of clients. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I had been there. I arrived a day before my speech, and I went down to the meeting room, and one of the doors was open because it was at night, and there wasn't a meeting going on. So I went into the room, and I walked around and just surveyed the space. And then I went to every exit door and checked it. And there were only 2 that led outside. All the rest of them led to the inner hallway and back around this corner, and then down there, and then out where the others went out. Well, how did I know to do that? Because in 1982 in Chicago, when I was chair of the National Speakers Convention, we had a presenter from the fire department. And he told us, always know where the exits are, because if you're the one they're looking at and listening to, you're in charge of evacuation procedures.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
You're prepared for that day.
Yeah. And ever since that time, 3,500 engagements, I have always checked to see where the exits lead. And sometimes the exits lead to a door that's going to go outside that's been chained shut. So you have to know.
Right.
Because everybody could be crowding toward the real exit that was intended, but it's blocked and they can't get out of there. So it's like the people on the Titanic that were locked in steerage, they didn't have a hope. Wow. So anyway, that was the nature of that article. And I just wanted to share it because I was kind of excited about it. Yay. So
congratulations.
yeah, thank you. I've forgotten, maybe it was Toastmasters or JC's or Kiwanis or one of those over the years. They would say, okay, who has something to say for the good of the order? Meaning something that's useful for everybody else to talk about, think about, or a question you want to ask. And so I will now toss it to the two of you and pose that question. What do you have that you would like either an answer to or some advice or feedback on, or, something to share, a bit of wisdom you brought?
Well, I'd like to just prepare or show about the photo shoot, party package that I put together. Just launching it today, sent out an email blast. And so Lisa, I'm hosting a headshot party, got a professional photographer to come in, but it's going to be more than that because I want them to be prepared for the photo shoot and know what to do with their professional photo afterwards. And so I've got a makeup artist, and she does other things to help prepare them, doing the colors and their, how they should be
Like an image
present. Yes. And so, yeah. And then Jim has generously offered a bonus. I'm calling it a bonus session for those that register to help them with their personal, I'm sorry, I didn't have my notes here, but it was personal branding, right?
Yeah. How do you package and present yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So that the brand you intend is the brand you create.
So do you think that's something that would be before the photo shoot?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll try to schedule that once I get some registrants.
But I would use it as a bonus, as an incentive to get people to sign up early.
Okay. Yeah, I've got them on
for the early enlistments.
Early bird.
They get this, yeah. And for the folks later on, maybe you can watch it in a
recording,
but you don't get to be the one they're talking about.
Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna, can I share my screen and just share the invitation here? Okay. All right. So here's the invitation, and it's got the, oops, how did I get back here? Okay. So I've got early bird registration, $397 a package, will be $499. That's just to get them moving to register early.
Yep.
This includes the professional photographer, and actually I include all the tools you need to build a professional brand image. What's included: pre-party coaching with the stylist for color, makeup, jewelry with Toby and Terry.
Yep.
Personal.
By the way, on the bonus, I would say Jim Cathcart, or best-selling author Jim Cathcart, or Hall of Fame professional speaker Jim Cathcart, or something like that, to, for those that never heard my name before. So that they don't think it's the guy down at the Four Seasons in Santa Barbara.
Thanks. Yeah. So this is okay. So what do you think is the best one? This I think Hall of Fame sounds good. Hall of Fame, what?
Speaker and author.
Speaker and author. Okay.
Because I am in the Sales and Marketing Hall of Fame in London, and I'm in the Professional Speakers Hall of Fame.
It's Sales and Marketing?
Sales and Marketing Hall of Fame in London, England, and the Professional Speakers Hall of Fame in the National Speakers Association, or in the US, whatever.
Okay.
Or you could just say with best-selling author of 25 books, Jim Cathcart, or top 1% TEDx presenter, Jim Cathcart.
Okay. Do you mind sending me an email with those choices?
Those are all in all of my materials.
That should be actually here. So if they click here.
Yeah. So just choose the one you think is
here.
Yeah, it's all right there. And choose the one that you think is the most appealing and use that.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the registration page, and just to show that, yes, they can click there and get onto your your pro page. And Madeline Veit is the photographer, and so she's going to be on the first call. I'm going to have a live Facebook call with Toby Ann and her, and then we're, just talking about the colors and styling. You're the exclusive bonus feature, and anything else that you think that I should add to that, but I definitely.
Well, I think you should I think you should add the word exclusive before the word bonus, because
That's a good idea.
yeah.
Okay, let me just, where is that?
Welcome back, Sandy.
No, it's marketing. This is the sales page,
Okay.
and that's this one. And where's the thing?
There was the edit down below.
Oh, edit checkout here. Thank you. Not used to people watching me as I'm
There
going
you
through
go.
this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to edit that.
Yeah. And what did
And-
you say? Exclusive bonus?
Exclusive, yes.
Yeah.
Exclusive bonus.
Yep.
Live Q&A with Jim Cathcart. And what all of
With best-selling author and top 1% TEDx presenter. How's that?
best selling
Yep.
author, 1%.
Yep. TEDx presenter.
TEDx speaker.
And no, it's the other way. It's TED, all caps, small x.
TEDx
Yeah. Presenter.
presenter. And is it on personal brand? What do you,
Yeah.
is it personal branding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's how do you package and present yourself so that your brand becomes what you intend it to be.
Okay, let's see.
Cool.
How can I? Yeah. Want it, look, let's see. Oops. I'll make
Yeah.
this bold. Want to make it really look big.
Yep.
Like Jim Cathcart, best-selling author.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yep.
Photo shoot with her. She's award winner too. And good. And then we're gonna have a post-party coaching. I probably should. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to show, the value. It's
Yeah.
not just the photo shoot, it's before and after. Photo shoot date is Saturday. Should I make this like red or something?
Certainly can.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. Now go back up to the, let's say, photo shoot party. What do you think, Lisa, of calling it a photo shoot party as opposed to something that incorporates more of the idea?
I like, this is personal preference, memorable marketing photo shoot package. Why is the word party on there? I mean, are they going to be drinking and dancing?
There, because I like, you know what, it's probably the I and my personality. We have to have a party. Okay.
But yeah, and it's kind of like a Tupperware party or whatever party. You know, it's got that flavor to it, but it's so much more substantial.
Yeah, that's where I wanted them to know. Although, so the picture here or the ad, I have this headshot party package.
Okay, you can leave that there.
I think
Who's the intended audience that's going to be on the?
they're business owners, author speakers. I also the girl from the Big Speak. So she's gonna share it with
Bureau. Yep.
yeah. But then most of them are like local business owners, but I want to attract those that want to, be more, not, because otherwise they can just go get their photos done or do a selfie.
Yeah,
By the way, use the line, or I'm suggesting that you look for a place to use the line, put your best look forward.
Okay. Let's see. I bet you can put it on the bottom here. Wait, so the top memorable marketing photo shoot package, that's okay, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It includes a party, but that doesn't mean it has to be a party package.
Let's go back up to the top for a minute, because that's really the
Right
most
here.
important. No, the very top. Headshot party package.
I could put it up instead of here, instead of smart and affordable.
Yeah, yeah. Put your best look forward.
Okay, let me put that down. Put your best look forward. Would it be initial caps? Put your best.
Don't know.
Okay, I will tweak that.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, thank you.
Fun. Okay. So Lisa,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
Jim,
you're-
we'll have to schedule the Q&A and I'll let you know when we have some registrants.
okay,
Okay,
very good.
all right.
Lisa, your turn.
yes. And what was the question again?
Well, the question is always what's next
Oh,
and
well,
what's needed, right? What's
y-
new,
well,
what's next,
okay.
what's needed. Yep.
I am totally focused. I am presenting to Ziegler Monday Morning Devotional on Monday.
Nice.
I am presenting on the parable of the Good Samaritan. That topic was chosen because the ALSAC preamble, American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charity, is all based on the parable of the Good Samaritan. And for the first time in my life, I'm just doing my major opening, my beef, my closing, and no PowerPoint. So I'm really trying to get my stories down and everything so it'll be smooth sailing. And so this is actually, people have asked me back several times, several people more than once, but this is the first time I've ever been asked back 3 straight years in a row by Lori Majors. So, and this is the continuation of Mr. Ziegler's legacy. It's going on 47 years. He just believed that the first meeting of the week should be a devotional. It's at 7 a.m. every Monday morning. And then at 9 a.m. every Monday morning, I co-host our mentoring coaching class with Tom Ziegler. So lots going on. I mean, it's not exactly the path that I had laid out, but I'm rolling with it. And
That's a plum assignment. There really is, because it carries so much legacy and prestige and meaning, because those are the kind of moments where impressions are made that last for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that every time I do a speech. I think for somebody today, this could be the day their life changed direction. Wow. This could be the day they said, yep, I'm in. Excuse me, I've got a new life to create, right? And they're ready to go forth and multiply. So, God bless them. But I think we ought to feel that responsibility because it's there.
I definitely do. Sandy, Lori Majors has actually been with the Ziegler organization for 42 years. She is the keeper of Mr. Ziegler's legacy. And I've been with him now going on 7 years. And there's been a couple of situations where she's called me out and said, please don't associate Mr. Ziegler's name with X, or use this or don't use that. And I go to her and I say, is this approved? Would Mr. Ziegler approve this? And she's always been complimentary of me. Lisa Marie always comes to me. So y'all take her lead that I want to approve whatever goes out of here. And I appreciate that. A couple of people have said to me, she's kind of hard, but I always say this. I hope and pray that if there's ever someone when I'm gone who will look after my name and my legacy, because I've worked really hard, even in my little small corner of the world, I hope it's somebody like a Lori Majors.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent.
That is sweet.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we have reached the top of the hour. It went quickly, and I loved spending this time with you. And I hope those that are viewing this later get a lot of really key ideas, because we covered some important ground today. And I just love that we're connected, and I'm able to be of value to both of you and the rest of you. So thank you for this privilege, and please tell your friends and bring them aboard, and we'll enroll them. And by the way, that's commissionable. So just let me know. And I will see you both next time on Going Pro Friday. Ask Jim
right.
Friday will be next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a
see
good
you.
weekend.
Fiesta.
Thank you.